recess. It is 10:19 on Friday, September 22nd, and we are coming back from Wednesday's from when we recessed on Wednesday, and prior to going on recess, there was discussions over suspension of holidays, and that um, several proposals were being considered in terms of suspending five, whether it be 5, 7, or 10 holidays. Um, the Senate conferees uh, stands firm to suspend no more than 5, provided that we provide the House with assurances on supporting tax initiatives that would support um, the underfunded activities such as GHLI and Medicaid, to name a few. Um, in our session in our Senate session yesterday, it was stated for the record that there's a bill in the Fiscal Affairs Committee that um, touches on the the tobacco portion of the excise tax, and that is a bill that we in the Senate can use to tackle on additional taxes to not just to all tobacco products and alternatives, and increase the taxes on those products to support the shortfall of Medicaid and GHLI. I requested for the Senate President to withdraw that bill out in committee so that we can introduce a substitute that would address some of those concerns. This morning, JP, through the assistance of Customs, provided the committee with data on excise taxes collected, and that has been just shared with the Senate members just not too long ago. So we can use that data to determine what may be the fiscal impact as a result of the increase that we have discussed. Several Senate members are in support of tax increases, at least to the tobacco and sugar sweetened beverages. We may Members may have concerns over the construction tax, but until we see a final product of how the taxes will be applied, the members reserve their opinions until such time we have a full picture of what the impact on the construction taxes will be. But before we, members, if you can just put the conversation of the holiday on hold while we kind of clarify a previous discussion in an earlier. I'm sorry, I don't think this was part of the discussion, but if we can take a look at section 604 in regards to revolving fund accounts. One of the proposal was to suspend the limitations on how revolving fund accounts should be spent, and to allow for the agencies to utilize the revolving fund accounts to cover operational expenses to include fuel, communications, operational office supplies, and inter-island travel for training purposes. I would just like to note and propose that I think we need to clarify language, and that this section, this suspension of the limitations, should not include special revenue accounts. These are special revenue that sets aside funds for educational outreach programs for tobacco, that being one example. Um, any funds that are in solid waste uh, revolving fund accounts, tax and rev enforcement, developers infrastructure tax. These are some of the activities that whatever balances are in these accounts should still um, continue to fund. Um, the suspension should only apply to, for the most part, fees that these departments collects on the daily, and to be able to use that outside its intended purpose. Any concerns regarding that?
No, Chairman, the House has no objection to your suggestion.
Thank you. So if I can ask council to just include language to exclude special revenue accounts. Thank you. I reckon, Dave, yes. Yeah, sure, we'll take a short recess. And just going back to the discussion on the holidays and what that number is. Again, as I stated earlier, the Senate conferees, at this point, we stand firm on not having to go beyond the 5 holidays. We've already begun our efforts in addressing at least the tobacco products increases to supplement the shortfall of Medicaid. Um, and we hope that other legislation, such as sugar sweetened beverage tax, for one, could be used to address GHLI instead of having to further reduce the personnel salaries by the additional holidays that was proposed earlier. And so at this time, I open the floor to just for discussions. Recognize culture.
Thank you, Chairman Manglonia. To understand the Senate position on certain taxes, I think we all agreed that the tobacco and sugar are okay to go, except the construction tax. Um, and since the construction tax is my bill, I'm okay with that. We'll hold on that. We'll address all the issues out with the concerns of the community and to the firms that are involved. So I have no objection to not signing any agreement now with regards to that tax. Since we're only addressing GLSI and Medicaid, um, the House is that we're okay with just getting that agreement that they will move the tobacco, sugar, sweeten, and certain container taxes, uh, and the others we can let it go through the natural process. Thank you.
Thank you. But even so, if the construction tax bill is ready, this is something that we can start sharing with the Senate members to try to have them digest the mechanisms in which you're going to apply the tax, so that we can determine what would be the right approach, whether this is something that needs further action or is something that is needed right now that we can address immediate needs. And so I guess we're back to this discussion on whether the definite five is a number that both houses can agree to.
The House is okay with the five, with that agreement we spoke about last. Um, Now going back to the construction tax, I know we had some additional discussions as to how to fund NMC, and we think that making certain provisions that any increase in that revenue will address the shortage of NMC, and that's where we're at right now. So it's gonna take a little time to address the construction tax moving forward. So at this time, the House we're okay, no, with the five holidays, provided that we agree on the, the, the revenue generating taxes.
Thank you. I think that so I think as part of the discussion moving forward, I think since we're still continuously working on the substitute to the tobacco tax, would you agree that the tobacco tax will fund Medicaid directly, and then the sugar sweetened will go towards GHLI? Is that an understanding that? Okay. So would you agree that we would apply the five holidays throughout the full year, and then um, allocate all the monies from that five holidays towards GHLI?
If I may, Chair, we are open with dedicating any increase based on the revenue generating bills that will be moving forward. But I think this body should also do a fiscal analysis, like how much are we expecting to project, right? And perhaps base ourselves on how much percentage of earmark would go, or none, unless you guys are saying that you're going to 100% earmark all the revenues derived from the increase. Is that what I'm hearing?
Just the increase. So
100.
whatever the current rate is being allocated to will remain, but the proposal of the 125 increase to say a cigarette pack will go towards GHLI.
Right. Yes. And then with regards to Medicaid, since right now, as we look at the Senate versions, there's 5 million for Medicaid,
Correct.
but Medicaid needs roughly almost 10 million. So perhaps on the sugar sweetened beverages, we should do a analysis, right? Is it over 5 million or close to or whatnot, and that we don't over
Budget.
earmark and perhaps maybe just dedicate the differences after we fulfill the needs of Medicaid and bring refer it to the general fund.
Thank you. I think if we can, so going back to the discussion on the five holidays, which we will realize about 1.28 million. I mean, yeah, 1.28 million. Um, we'll apply that to, or actually, this number will change based on the analysis done by Dave. The 5 holidays would roughly affect each employee by 1.8, is it? 1.3 hours. And so we will reduce, we'll further reduce personnel by 2 hours, and then um, apply the 2 hours to Medicaid. Is that something that we'll agree on? And if so, if Dave, if you can start calculating the 2 hours across the board, um, so that's a total of a 10-hour reduction across the board. And we'll allocate the funds into Medicaid. And so this is a 10-hour work week pay period reduction. Um, I guess each branch will have its um, determination as to how to address their austerity days. But we feel that the 10 hours could be a result of a 1 hour a day austerity in a pay period. So that would mean that technically individuals will still get paid during the holidays. The suspension of the 5 holidays is kind of spread throughout the entire year. Um, before we go on recess, any other discussions on that matter? If not, we'll take a short recess. The fiscal analyst has been tasked to calculate the 2 hour reduction across the board and allocate the 2 hours into Medicaid. Any other discussions on the schedule now? I think that takes care of all provisions. Are there any other concerns with additional provisions?
Chair, so the provisions are clear. Ms. Clara, everything we address, nothing's on hold. 704.
Oh, it's just, oh, that's right. So 704 is just to allow for the director to make the necessary changes to the operating schedule. Is that everyone okay with that? So we'll change the presiding officers to director. Any new provisions? Short recess. And prior to going on recess, we were just discussing utilities to ensure that agencies that um, are responsible for certain activities will also be covered under utilities. And so, one of the amendments proposed is to include language where utility buildings that are not covered after all revolving fund resources have been exhausted shall be paid by the central government. All right. Any other discussions on the language provisions of the budget? If none, we move on to the schedule. And so at this time, I recognize Rep. Sablon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So at this time, since we are moving now to the Schedule A, at this time I would like to ask the Senate conferees to kind of give the House conferee an overview uh, on their Senate version of removing funds and transferring funds, if we may have that summary. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Sablon. So, in a nutshell, because the conferees for the concurrent resolution agreed that the available resources, the net available resources will be at 114,238,931. That resulted in a 1,168,334 cut to what would be available for allocation. So in order to address this 1 million shortfall, we took 680, close to 690,000 from the Saipan mayor's account. We took out the 25% that went to PSS, and that comes up to 292,000. And then the remaining, just to cover that 1.17 million shortfall, we took the 185 from Medicaid. So that all those three actions allowed us to cover for this 1.17 million reduction in net available resources. Furthermore, in order to address funding for the unfunded positions under the Lieutenant Mayor's office, we took 770,000 from Medicaid match to cover this. We took out from both legislature and judiciary personnel to also bring them to us, put them in austerity to help cover the actions that we took to address the shortfall for Tinian personnel. Under the first senatorial district, we're just transferring from one entity to another, so there was no additional funds that were spent there. We further reduced the offices of the governor and lieutenant governor. Sorry, we applied additional funds to the office of the governor and the lieutenant governor, or the lieutenant governor, to cover for personnel that was not included in the budget proposal. We added $1 to Saipan Customs to open up the one position that was left out. We gave Rhoda Customs close to 30,000 to reinstate the customs employees to 100%, as is what has happened to all customs and law enforcement personnel, to be funded at 100%. We put 927,000 into GHLI, and then we added $1 to MVA, Office of Grants, Solid Waste Management, Tinian personnel, and Tinian defense to keep those accounts open. And so in total, those actions come out to 2 million, which was taken from Medicaid in order to address the shortfall, which is why we propose that the holiday would be used to cover some of the shortfall in order to address these actions. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And since we initiated our deliberation, it was the position of the House Comfrey that, and we were firm on our position that we restore the cuts that were made on to the third senatorial mayor of Saipan. And at this time, I make a motion that we take the amount in the tune of 690,904 from the second senatorial district and restore back the funding to the third senatorial mayor. So move.
There was a motion made and it was seconded. Discussion on that motion. All right, if not, we will open the floor for voting, and I'll recognize the Senate LA to conduct roll.
Senator Cora Archie Neighbors,
No.
Senator Karina Elma Gofnia, Senator Karina Elma Gofnia,
Yes. Sorry.
Mr. Chairman.
No.
Mr. Chairman, 2 Senate conferees voted no, 1 member voted yes.
Thank you, LA. I hand the floor over to the chair of the House Conferees to take roll.
Thank you, Chairman Manglonia. I'll recognize Cam to call the roll.
Representative Marissa R. Flores.
Yes.
Representative John Paul P. Sablan.
Ungat.
Representative Ralph N. Yomo.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, all 3 House conferees voted yes.
Thank you. Without the necessary votes where we need 2 affirmative from the House and 2 from the Senate, the motion hereby is defeated. Further discussions? Short recess. back from recess. Prior to going to recess, we took a vote on moving on a motion that was made to move funds from the Tinian personnel over to Saipan Mayor. Unfortunately, that motion was defeated, and so now we're entertaining additional discussions as to how to address the funds taken from Saipan Mayor. And so at this time, I open the floor for discussion.
I believe, Chairman Mangonia, we have some directions as to how to go about. And during recess, we had discussed possibly moving funds from GLHI, since we're already addressing GLHI through a couple of the revenue generating bills that are already been pre-filed, and the one revenue generating bill that's already with the Senate. And with that, I believe the House is okay with that.
Have the House Fiscal Analyst been able to determine preliminary figures as to what the container tax would look like?
Yeah, it's the recess where we asked for a quick recess for him to get set up.
All right, with that, we'll take a short recess. This, um, so we can get everyone. All right. We now rise back from recess. We have the House Fiscal Atlas to explain to the members one of the proposed legislation that is aimed at increasing the container tax, and he's going to present what the financial impact of that increase would look like. I recognize TG Rabago.
Hello, members. So, with the numbers collected or garnered from the Customs and Biosecurity, in 2021, the total for container tax that was collected was $1,433,558.10. For 450 and 10 cents. This is taxed at 5 cents per container. So the total amount of containers at 5 cents that had been taxed that was brought into the CNMI was 68,669,162 containers. If a 10% per 28 million. If a 10% increase were to be included per container, the taxable amount total for the same amount of containers brought to the CNMI be $4,300,374.30, garnering a total of $2,866,916.20 more that may be collected should the same amount of $28 million, 28 million containers be brought into the CNMI. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If the same amount is brought into the CNMI, same amount of containers.
Recognize Senator McLaughlin.
Thank you, Chair. Just for clarification, so we are looking at column C, which is the container tax, right?
Yes,
And are those fixed numbers based on what? Like, what are the assumptions there?
collected from the Customs and Biosecurity. These are the numbers that they have.
But these are numbers from 2020 or 2021?
2022, 2021, 22, because we have finished the fiscal year. They provided us with the numbers for fiscal year 2023, but we have yet to finish out the fiscal year. So
Right.
I did not want to use that as an example. So I used the fiscal year that has already concluded.
But we have actuals through September though, so why would we
Yes.
not why would you want to continue to use numbers from the prior fiscal year if we already have actuals for this fiscal year through September? I mean, through August.
I have that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I have in the bottom.
Okay.
Yes, yes. As of today when Rep JP received the
Okay.
information this morning. I just used the previous fiscal year because it had concluded.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a complete fiscal year.
And then when we look, can you go up?
Sure.
So we're looking at column D, and you're saying that if we increase by 5 cents, that those are the new figures, right?
No, column E. Column E, and it'd be at 10-cent increase according to Rep Flores's bill.
Oh, God. So E would be the.
Yes, with a
Okay.
10-cent increase.
With the 10-cent increase.
Yes.
Oh, because we're currently at 5.
Yes.
And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
we're
Yes, ma'am.
proposing to increase it.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
10.
Yes.
Got it. So the increase would be an additional 337,000.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, got it.
So the total for 1 year was
2.8.
Go down. There.
2.2. Okay.
On a complete calendar.
No, sir. This is the complete calendar year is up above.
2.8.
Yes, yes.
That's the.
Because this is the one in the bottom is fiscal year 23,
Right.
which has yet to be closed or closed out.
Go down. Can you?
So this is for the current fiscal year. As of this morning, also, the information garnered.
Use the one complete calendar.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's right here.
That's the 2.8.
We're close to what we received last year.
Yes, yes, yes.
One mark.
So if we were to compare last fiscal year 2022 as of August and this fiscal year 20 or August, what's the difference? Like, are we looking at a huge cumulative, of course? What's the variance?
Let me take this out. August, up to August, correct?
So we're comparing, right, the 2 fiscal years,
Up
August.
to the month of
yeah,
August.
just to see where the trend is.
The completion of August there. So you want to see the previous fiscal year?
Right.
It is at 2.6 million compared to at the end of August, which is at 2 million.
No, August of last year.
August of last year.
To August of this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
okay,
if
I'm
you
sorry. I'm sorry.
some last fiscal year through August and then some this fiscal year through August, I just want to see what the bottom line is so that we can
Sure.
see the
Give me some time.
correlation.
Let me know some time now. Yeah, I've yet to do it. Let me some time now. I'll get that done.
Just a matter of handing it.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So August 2022, from here to here.
I thought that's what you did.
No, I'm not sure.
January, you know.
No, just add the two rows, 2022.
Yes,
8
correct,
and
correct.
22,
Yes, I'm gonna just add the 2 rows.
Control
Yes, sir.
V.
Yes.
I know.
So all I need to do. Up to August, right? So take this one out, September.
And August.
There.
Or
So from
August.
August of last year to August of this year, it'd be 2 million.
So there's a decrease.
Correct. Because of the amount of containers that were brought in.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
last year, assuming it was an election year.
So there was more.
So there's more
Okay.
plans coming
28 million
in,
brought
as
in.
opposed
So
to-
next year's
and
an
next year
election
should
year.
be an increase again.
So that was, I don't know if that would, garner a increase, but it may be a distinguishing factor.
Okay.
Not sure
You
about
gotta
that.
remember that PTC doesn't bring in certain line products anymore, so it actually
Yeah.
decreased. So there's no more, I believe there's no light beer and certain products.
I'm not sure about that.
It's coming from the base. There's no more light beer at the store now. So that's why it's decreasing, I believe.
But
Yeah.
it's being replaced with other types of beer. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
There's also the-
Better not? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Can I be reference here? Analyst, Mr. Rabago.
Yes, sir.
Can you go back to your analysis?
Yes, sir.
And first the analysis so we can see the two pieces on the top. No? Anchor. Yeah. The heading, can you anchor the heading on the top?
Line 22.
The one on the top, the one on the 22nd, yeah. Anchor that one. So that when we scroll down, everything will be
Like to fixate it, like to lock it in.
Lock it in so we can
it's
see
okay.
the heading every time. So
Let me make this smaller. There we go.
okay. Now hold on. Take the number, the 1.4 million and multiply that by 0.05. We just want to test whether those numbers are okay.
This by 0.05?
Yeah, that's the total, right? Yeah, multiply that so that we can see whether the numbers are okay. That's showing you 71 million. 71,000. So that's for the whole year at 5%. Yeah. So where's that figure 28 million coming from of 5%?
For the 28,
Yeah.
include this number of cans.
Oh, number of cans?
Yes.
So it's not dollars.
So-
Just number.
Because I was wondering.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the increase of the 4.3 million?
That's with the additional proposal.
Yeah. But we just want to need how the calculation is done on that. So
So the number of cans, right? Is it?
Yes.
The 28,
With a 10% increase, a 10-cent increase.
So you take the 2,659,212 cans
Yes.
and you multiply by
0.15.
15 cents.
15 cents.
For
And then you multiply by 10% for the increase.
10
Is that how you do it?
cents.
10 cents, ne? 10
10
cents, which
cents,
is
yes.
10%. Ne? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so can you recalculate it on the bottom? We'll just test the first one.
The
first,
calculation up here?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one is what
Just
you
put
mean?
it up there. We're just gonna
Okay.
test the column E. Let's just test the column E whether it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Go down to Take the total number of cats. Yeah. No, the one on the top. The one on the top of the 38.6 thousand million cats. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Multiply that by 0.15, right? Right? Then you multiply that by 0.10, no? The increase, no?
Multiply this by point.
Yeah, you did multiply that by 0.15 already,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's coming at 367, right? And then you multiply
Yes.
10% of that for the increase. 10
Why?
cents.
Why? 10?
Yeah.
So it's currently at 5 cents. The increase is 10 cents. So to be at 15%, 15 cents in total.
Currently now at 5 cents.
Yeah, currently at 5
It's
cents.
going to go up by 10 cents.
Go up to 10 cents.
So that's a 50% increase, no?
No,
That's a
200% increase.
No, 50%. So it's 10 cents minus 5% is 5. 5 divided by 10 is 50%.
5 cents to 10 cents is 100%.
No, 5 cents to 15 cents in total.
It's 200%. 200%, right?
Yes, 200%.
Right. Well, the linear increase of 5%. I mean, 200%.
Yes, 200% increase.
Right. 200% increase. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that 245,
200%.
that 245 increase.
Yes, over here. Correct. Yes.
Yeah, how do you get that?
So it's this number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 million times 5 cents. So should be 367 minus 2 million times 5 cents.
Which is the container tax amount. That's what was provided to us by Customs and Bio.
We're just trying to see whether these numbers are accurate.
There's a 225,000.
That's the one.
Yes.
Okay. Over. Okay.
All right. Any questions for TG? If none, thank you, TG. We're back to the main discussion.
Oh, let me take it off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So right now, there's discussion amongst all members that in order to address the shortfall of the third senatorial district, the only one proposal is that we take it out of the 927,000 that was placed into the GHLI account. Under the condition that the container tax, which was just presented, which may result in a 2.8 million revenue, in addition to a Beetle Nut tax, which Flores has pre-filed. Um, we'll address the GHLI for retirees and active members. And so, any further discussion? So the total under what's in currently in GHLI comes out to 1,001,392. Total of what's needed to restore Saipan Mayor is 690,904. Sorry, correction, 936, 952.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the proposal is of the 936, 952, we take out 690, 904 and apply that to Saipan Mayor personnel. And then additional 100,000 for Voda Mayor's office operations. And then the difference will be split into GHLI active and GHLI retirees. So that's the proposal that's currently on the floor. Discussion on that. Can I get a motion for that action? All right, there's a motion made by Co-Chair Ralph, seconded. Can I get a second? All right, motion was made and seconded. Discussion on that motion. Can I get the LA for the Senate to take roll?
Senator Carl R. King Neighbors,
Ungan.
Senator Karina Elma Gofia,
Ungan.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, all three members voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. All three Senate conferees voting yes. I hand the floor over to Co-Chair.
Thank you, Chairman Manglonia. Now I recognize Cam for the roll.
Representative Marissa R. Flores,
Yes.
Representative John Paul P. Sablan,
Ungan.
Representative Ralph N. Newmo. Mr. Chairman, all three members voted yes.
Thank you. With all six members of the conferee voting yes, the motion hereby passes. Any other discussions on Schedule A? I think there might have. I think before I'll keep this to the end. Any other discussions? Recognize
So-
Representative JP.
Thank you, Chair. So if I may ask, what will be now the remaining balance on the July from the 900 after this motion was adopted?
146, $48, $146, and divided by two.
So about 73,000 for each entity.
Thank you. So clarified.
And so I hope that maybe when the revenue bills are in the House, it can be divided equal or whatever the ratio is between GHLI retirees and active members can be identified in the bill.
I'm sure that would suffice the letter from Joyce Tang. That we, whatever, it has to be
Equal
equal.
portions, yes.
Yes. That's correct. Yeah.
I recognize Senator Carl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to offer a motion. There is an issue with the DPW solid waste landfill supervisor. And I would like to offer a motion for, again, if it were possible to touch the GHLI to fund that one position because we are not in compliance with the DPW's mandate without that position. So move.
We'll take a short recess. and Senator Carl still has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to offer a motion to take the amount of $29,551 for the position of landfill supervisor for the second senatorial. This is in line with their administrative mandate to have that position filled, and also to take $47,907 for the customs position that was funded for $1 for the third senatorial district from GHLI. I believe we'll also need to make the requisite amendment or change to the provision on 707C. So move.
Sure. Just
Recognize council.
clarification on the number for the landfill supervisor.
For the landfill supervisor, that's going to be $29,551, and that's after benefits. And that's also to include the reduction in hours, right?
So there is a motion, and just to clarify, this provision will also affect 707C, and to instead replace that $1 with the figure that Senator Carl has mentioned. Discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Sounds like there's a. Once again, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Any other discussions? Recognize co-chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I now offer a motion to add language under section 607, and it's written in the screen in event 607, cell number 1, Marpi Landfill Closure Fund. And it reads, in the event of any funding shortfall caused by this appropriation act, the CNMI government shall be fully responsible for all costs and expenses not to exceed $5.4 million that are necessary to effectuate the closure of cell number 1 of Marpi Landfill. So move.
All right, there was a motion made to add a section 607 as stated by the co-chair and was seconded. Discussion on that motion.
Ready?
All right, all in favor of adopting this motion to include section 607, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Add a comma where? Technical. Thank you, Council. Noted. Yeah. So with U.S. standards. Any other discussion? All right, and with that, members, we now up for discussion is the entire House Bill 23-66, HS1, SS2, CC, S1 as amended, CC, Conference Committee, CC1. Discussion on the bill. All right, can I get a motion for the adoption of HB 2366, HS1, SS2, CC1?
Second.
All right, a motion was made and seconded. Discussion on that motion. Ready? If not, can I recognize Senate LA for the roll?
Senator Carl R. King Neighbors.
Yes.
Senator Karina L. Mogollon.
Ungan.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, all three Senate conferees voted yes.
Thank you, Jolyn. I recognize Co-Chair Ralph Humol.
Thank you, Chairman Donald. I now recognize House LA Cam for the roll.
Representative Marissa R. Flores,
Yes.
Representative John Paul P. Sablan,
Hungan.
Representative Ralph N. Newmo.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, all three members voted yes.
Thank you, LA. With all 6 members of the conference committee, House Bill 2366 HS1 SS2 CC1 is hereby adopted. With that, I kindly ask the fiscal analyst along with the legal counsel and LA's prepare the committee report and to include all changes and amendments made to the bill for concurrence before we pre-file for the House and the Senate session. And so we will take a recess and come back tomorrow at 3. Would that work? All right. Dave, is this also something that can be done by 3? All right. Thank you, LAs and fiscal analysts and counsel. We will stand in recess until 3 p.m. tomorrow.